even if you live under a rock, you've probably heard a little bit about the moves the Boston Celtics have made, right? They moved Marcus Smart to the Grizzlies in that trade that brought them back Kristaps Porzingis. They let Grant Williams go. He's in Dallas now. They had to let him go for cap flexibilities to help them with set up some of these other moves. And then most recently, they made that trade for with Robert Williams, Malcolm Brogdon going to the Blazers in that trade to get Drew Holiday from Milwaukee, because Milwaukee had traded Drew to Portland for Damian Lillard, right? So we had a whole big swap with all these teams, right? So now, Chance, going into this season, the Boston Celtics depth chart is one of those things where they are heavy on that starting lineup with, rolling out Drew Holiday, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Kristaps Porzingis. I'm assuming that's going to be their starting lineup, or they might move Derek White to the bench and start Porzingis and Horford. I don't know, but
Yeah.
one thing we do know, their starting six is strong. Their
Yeah.
first six is strong, but then everything after that, we've got a lot of question marks. Does Peyton Pritchard, does he take that natural step up this year? Sam Hauser, young as well. Wenyen Gabriel, he had that little stint where he gave the Lakers a little bit productive minutes. However, he's still a young player, and then the rest of that is a whole bunch of young, unproven guys. Chance, do you think that the Boston Celtics depth is enough to win a title this year?
I mean, when you're looking on paper, it definitely doesn't look like it's enough off the bat. I mean, it's kind of interesting. You don't really see a team make a deep run and like half of their rotation is gone, going into the next year. But overall, as you mentioned, their top six is very strong. I think Drew Holiday is, clearly an upgrade. As a Grizzlies fan, I love, bringing Marcus Smart in, but Drew Holiday is a much better player than Marcus Smart. I think Holiday is one of the most underrated players in the entire league. And so getting him to still bring that defensive intensity at the point guard position. The biggest question with Boston is not only depth, but more specifically their front court depth, because you've got Porzingis, who has the injury history. You've got Al Horford, who he's pushing 40 at this point. The fact that he's even still able to, be a contributing rotation player is impressive enough. But like, is he somebody that you'll be able to play 35 minutes a night in the playoffs and not wear down? And then behind that, like you mentioned, they've got Gabriel, but not much else. They do have some young talent. As you mentioned, Sam Hauser, I think he's, one of the best spot up shooters in the league as well. I'm also a really big Peyton Pritchard fan, but when it comes down to the playoffs, do you really want him playing 20, 25 minutes a game as well? So no, I don't think they have the depth right now, but they do still have a few other future assets where they, compared to Milwaukee basically is done. They have no future picks or nothing. Boston still has a couple trade chips that if things get to the deadline and they still need to make that one or two more pushes, they can still do that. And so I think when you have a top six as good as theirs is, as long as Porzingis can stay healthy, that's a big question mark. Porzingis had a really sneaky, really amazing season for the Wizards last year. I think that was his best season of his career so far. And if he can bring all
Yeah.
of that, bring that momentum in, I mean, they're definitely one of the top two favorites in the East, but they have some time to kind of see how it looks and then kind of make their move from there.
Well, that's my thing, Chance. So like Vegas has them at their projected win total is 54 and a half. That's their line, right? For their wins, regular season wins. I just don't see that happening with this team. If I'm a betting man, I'm hammering the under, just because they don't have the depth. You and I both know with this 82 game season is a long season now, and they're also adding the play-in tournament in there, and things of that sort. So like this season is going to feel a lot longer than I think people realize.
Mm-hmm.
And when you start talking about teams that usually do best from a regular season perspective, is teams that have depth, teams that can sit people some nights, or deal with injury. And we know Kristaps Porzingis is not playing all 82 games.
Right.
I think the Celtics would be happy if Kristaps Porzingis can give them anywhere around 60 games, just due to from his injury history, right? Uh, Now and then, I think I love the addition of adding Drew Holiday, because truthfully, I mean, you roll out any lineup with Drew Holiday, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Kristaps Porzingis at the rim, from rim protection, dude, that has a chance to be an elite defensive lineup, right? So overall, I think if this team can make it to the playoffs healthy, I think this team will be a dangerous team. However, don't forget, Chance, with the new CBA, the the Celtics now have went into that second tier of
Yep.
that threshold, meaning they can't sign buyout candidates. So a team like the Celtics is a team who used to be a ideal team to go out and sign those buyout candidates and get those veteran players throughout the year, but now they cannot do that. So now this is like they really went all in on this, on this lineup, and maybe they know something we don't. Maybe they know that Peyton Pritchard and some of these other guys are going to and Sam Hauser are going to step it up going into this year.